In this second module, we are going to look at how LinkedIn can help you find prospects and engage with them. First, we will look at the search features in LinkedIn.com, the regular version of LinkedIn that you can use for free and that you are likely using today. Then we will look at additional features of the LinkedIn Sales Navigator, LinkedIn's premium tool for sales, which makes prospecting much more efficient and powerful. Ideally, your client will give you access to it. And after that, we'll talk about engaging with people in order to further qualify them or start building relationships. Let's begin with the basic LinkedIn search features. And remember, it all starts with your ICP. Having that in mind, LinkedIn.com offers you some basic filters, which are a pretty good starting point for your search. You can, for instance, search for people by entering the target job title in the search field. This is typically the best starting point. Then you can combine that with a search by location, the company that they work for, or a company they have worked in the past, the industry, topics they talk about on LinkedIn, or their school if you are looking to find relevant connections in your alumni network. You can also filter by degree of connection. That means your first, second, or third degree connections, or find somebody else's connections from somebody in your network if you would like to ask for a warm introduction or referral. Now, if you would like to get a little bit more fancy or advanced, you can also use the Boolean search, which allows you to combine searches. For instance, if you would like to search for two different job titles at the same time, you can combine them with the word and. Here we are on LinkedIn, and on the top left here you find the search field. Now, I want to look for IT directors. And just to show you the Boolean search, I could say I want to have IT directors and director of technology. Okay, so I hit the enter key and then I am going to people. You want to go to people here, the people search. And you see LinkedIn offers you other filters. I like to go to all filters. And now you can say, do you want to search for people in your first degree network or beyond? Do you want to see connections of a specific connection in your network? For instance, the CEO of the company, of the client that you're currently working for, might be very well connected in the industry. So you can look for connection. If you are connected with him or her, you can look for connection in that person's network. I, for instance, want to look for connection in my boss's network, in our CEO's network, and I can then enter him here. Okay. And now I don't show you everything because not all filters are so relevant in my opinion, but location is a good one. Let's say I want to look for IT directors in New York. And you can say New York State or New York City metropolitan area. I'm going to go for the state of New York. Now, current company, if you are looking at specific companies, you can add those. Past company, the same thing. School, the same thing. Industry, I find pretty useful. For instance, you would look for IT directors in the professional service industry and the technology, information, and internet industry. And you can obviously add others. Profile language is likely English for you. And I would skip these other ones, honestly, and just go to show results. And there's no results found. Great demo effect. That's very likely because my boss is not connected to IT directors very much. So I'm going to get rid of this filter. I go to reset, show results. And now I'm just seeing IT directors in the state of New York or director of technology. And then you can look at the people's profile, send them a message or connection request, and that's basically it. LinkedIn Sales Navigator can make your search much more efficient and targeted. For instance, it gives you more powerful filters that you can easily combine, such as job title, seniority level, company size, and many more. It allows you to save your searches so that you can easily revisit them later and also see any new leads that match your criteria in the future. For instance, if somebody changes the job and they all of a sudden become a lead for you. And the LinkedIn Sales Navigator also provides lead recommendations based on your saved leads and search history. Just to illustrate this, here you can see the different search filters of the LinkedIn Sales Navigator. You can see there's a lot more. It's a lot more structured. The ones I particularly like are the function, job title, seniority level. A combination of those can be extremely powerful. We will go more into the details of the features of the Sales Navigator in Module 4. While the search is the most effective way on LinkedIn to identify leads, there's a few others that I would like to point out to you. The first one is you can follow hashtags on LinkedIn. You can find those hashtags via the search, and if you follow them, you can find other relevant people that are talking about these topics. You can also follow industry thought leaders. Those are people with a lot of followers in a specific niche or industry, and you can see who is following and engaging with their content. You can join relevant industry groups, attend events and connect with participants, and you can also check out the People Also Viewed section, which you find at the bottom right of people's LinkedIn profile. Now that we have learned how to find potential prospects, let's talk about how to further qualify them. There are a few ways you can do that before you actually start reaching out to people, and this can save you quite a bit of time. So, what are the things you can do? From your search results, look at people's profiles and also at their company profile and see what do they say about themselves. Do they seem like a good match with your ICP? Once you've checked somebody out, you can always navigate back to the search list with the back button in your browser. It can also be very interesting to Google people because you can come across other information about them that is not on their LinkedIn profile. Check if your prospects post content or engage with other people's content. If so, what can you learn about them from it? And what topics do they talk about and engage with? And lastly, look for buying signals. Do you see your prospects reacting to your content or your company's content? Or another buying signal could be that there's relevant hiring activity at the target company. All those can help provide you with intelligence which prospects are worth pursuing further. While you are working on qualifying relevant prospects, it's a good idea to enter them into a Google Sheet, for instance, or into your client's CRM. This way, you will be able to keep track of who you have identified, who you have qualified, and what outreach activities you might have started. Once you have identified your prospects, you will want to reach out and engage with these people with the objective to get to a conversation. There are two basic strategies on how to achieve that on LinkedIn. Let's call them direct connect and follow first. And I will explain you how to do both. Direct connect. This is the most direct approach. You send people that you have identified as potential leads a connection request. I recommend to personalize the connection request with a little personal message. you have 300 characters per connection request. I recommend mentioning why you are reaching out and maybe some things that you have in common, such as groups or interest, or mention the assumed pain points that you believe they may have. Don't pitch in the connection request. There's a place for that in just a little bit. There's another direct connect strategy which does not involve writing personalized messages to everybody who you're connecting with. And that strategy entails you just sending out the connection requests without adding a message. As you can imagine, this is much easier to scale. And the idea is that you only start sending personalized messages to those people that actually accept your connection request. As decision makers and executives get a lot of connection requests and messages these days, you can also first connect with lower level employees, individual contributor or manager type people who are typically more approachable and are more likely to accept your connection request and engage in a conversation. You can then have a conversation with them, learn about the company, and with that additional intelligence and connection, you start reaching out to people higher up. Be aware that the maximum number of connection requests you can send in 1 week is 100. Please do not use any third-party tools to connect with people. This risks you becoming flagged by LinkedIn as a bot and having your account suspended, and that is not fun to deal with. And lastly, I wanted to share a little data point from LinkedIn about personalized connection requests. LinkedIn has found that personalized connection requests get you a 5 times higher chances of having your connection request accepted than non-personalized requests. Now, in my opinion and in my experience, it's well worthwhile trying if the additional time that you invest into personalized connection requests is worthwhile, or if you can get away with unpersonalized connection requests and then following up with a personalized message if people connect with you. I would say the more you are into building relationships and the longer your sales cycles are, the more worth it is to include a personalized message with the connection request. Now, let's look at the follow first strategy. This means that you don't reach out to people directly, but you follow them first to learn more about them and to pop up on their radar. And then based on what they are doing on LinkedIn, the content they're sharing, comments they're engaging with, you find a good opportunity to reach out with a connection request. How do you do this? It's simple. You find the follow button on their LinkedIn profile, and you maybe also want to activate the little bell icon in the top right, because this way you always get an alert when they post something and you basically don't miss any of the posts of content of your target audience. Then when they share something, you engage with that content, become visible, and at an ideal point in time, reach out to them with your connection request and with your ask. This strategy really only makes sense, however, when people are actually sharing content. And if they do, make sure you engage with that content first, and then when you reach out, ideally mention something that you have seen them posting about, or at least address a topic that you have spotted they are interested in by the content that they are sharing. Now, if you're using the LinkedIn Sales Navigator, that also allows you to send so-called in-mails, which is a longer type message format. You can send it to people who you're not connected with. But honestly, LinkedIn emails typically don't have a very good response rate. You can try to use them, but when you use them, please make sure that you have a compelling subject line, because that's going to increase your opening rates. I, for instance, like to stay away from generic subject lines that say something like introduction or just question, but instead try to have like a couple of relevant words in there that you think will catch their attention. Here you can see an example of how you can engage with somebody on LinkedIn. So you can either hit the connect button, or you can go to more and then find the follow button. Be aware that sometimes, depending on people's account setting, the connect button and the follow option might be reversed. So when you don't see one of them, look under more, and that's where you will find it. This is the end of the second module. We have seen how you can find people, qualify them, and engage with them on LinkedIn. And whatever strategy you choose, please make sure that you are not only selling, but that you are also building meaningful relationships with people in your audience.